Welcome to this very special episode of the Mol Belgie Greece podcast from Reality TV Warriors. My name is Michael Harmstone, and joining me as always is a Canadian who still isn't convinced that Christian isn't tall, Logan Saunders.
Good morning.
And I'm very pleased to say that joining us today is the star of the season, Bart.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. I'm not sure whether I'm the star, but it's a pleasure to be here.
If you listen to any of our podcasts, you'll know we were singing your praises for 9 weeks.
I have to admit I missed it, to be honest. But when you reached out to me, I took the liberty of listening to one of them. So well, actually, I'm flattered. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, if you just look through our banners, I think you had about 3 or 4 of the banners in the season. You definitely had the watermelon one. You definitely had the post skydive hair one.
Yeah, but that's not a flattering one, to be honest. But
it just made me laugh. That's all it was.
It made us laugh all. Yeah, it was amazing.
By that point in the season, it was just watch what Bart does and laugh at it.
Yeah.
Laugh with it, Michael.
Yeah, it was the watermelon one, the skydive one, and then you and Doreen dancing in the photography office as well.
Yeah, I remember.
So you did
that
have
one.
3.
Okay, thanks.
So what have you been up to in the past 8 weeks, apart from not being able to meet us in Kennepolis?
Not much, to be honest. I mean, obviously Belgium was in lockdown, so I worked from home. It was actually pretty busy at work, so busy days, but boring days at the same time. Obviously, like any one of us, once you're confined to your own home. Luckily, I have a garden, so that's fun. But I guess the worst part was that school was closed as well. So I have 3 kids running around, and that's fun for a couple of days. Let's just put it that, yeah.
But at least you got to see what everyone was saying about you on Twitter all the time.
It's not that I constantly check Twitter, but
No.
Once in a while I checked it. Well, it was fun watching it. It was fun reading everything, and obviously, I mean, the Sunday nights were a highlight for us as well. Watching the episodes, because obviously you know what has happened, you know what's gonna come. But you don't know how they've edited everything and how they will show it and air it. So it was always interesting for us to see each episode as well.
Were you aware there was an international audience outside of Belgium for the TV show?
No, I didn't. I really didn't know. When I got your message, Logan, I was really surprised. Like who is this guy? And what he's in Canada and in the UK, and they're watching the Belgian Mole. How can that be? So no, I was surprised.
To be fair, most people have the reaction of who the hell is Logan Saunders. It's just a natural thing.
I think last year in Kennepolis, I was known as, "Oh, you're the Canadian guy."
It was really funny in the press room, actually, because obviously we found out 5 days beforehand we were going to be being there as press, and we kind of slunk into the press room, and the word kind of just went round that it's the English speaking guys. Needs to be nice to them.
Funny thing is, we found out when I was in Greece, of all places, that we were going to be going to Kennepolis for the finale.
We did, and I was sat in a car park at a place called Media City, where they film most of the TV in the UK now. Rock and roll. So you were saying to me before that you're a fan of the previous seasons. Was this the first time you'd applied, Bart?
No, actually, I applied three years in a row, if I'm not mistaken. But the funny thing was that this year, and to be honest, I didn't have any reaction whatsoever. So I applied. It takes you 45, 50 minutes to get through all the questions. Then you have to record this small video, this short video, 2 minutes. It's a pain in the ass to apply for it. So I did it 3 years in a row. Never got interviewed. Never got selected one bit or whatever. So this year I said I'm not gonna do it. I really am not gonna do it. And now actually I was traveling for work, and I checked into my hotel, but the room wasn't ready. And somehow I marked it in my calendar saying, okay, this is the deadline for registering for the mole. And my room wasn't ready, so I had to wait in the lobby for like an hour. And I looked at my calendar, and somehow I stumbled on this deadline that I put in. And I said, okay, I have 1 hour. What do I do? Okay, fuck it. Let's try it one more last time. So I filled in the questions, made this stupid video myself, like 2 minutes. But while I was sitting in the lobby of a hotel, very very random, and submitted it, and yeah, a couple of months later, I was in Greece. So it was funny.
Yeah, I feel your pain with those applications, because I've done a few of the TV show applications, and they just take forever.
And you realize, what are the chances? The year before I joined, it was 10,000 applicants. This year was 14,000. You say, okay, come on, you have no chance whatsoever. But then, well, I'm the living proof that you just have to hold on, and then sometimes a miracle happens.
The odds are still better than winning on a lottery ticket.
That's true. That's true.
Was there a previous season you would have liked to have been a part of, other than Greece?
The South African one. That's actually my favorite season, to be honest. The group seemed like a very nice group. The country, it seems like an amazing country, and the challenges were hilarious. That's my favorite season.
Yeah, there's no ostrich mazes in Greece or drunken museum heists.
Exactly. Oh.
Bart was saying earlier that he would have had the same reaction as Davey did with the ostrich maze.
But those animals are huge, you know. I don't know whether they're aggressive, but yeah, I would be scared. But then again, for pasvragen, I would do anything, so I would just go.
Yeah, we kind of got the impression during the season that you would have done anything for an advantage.
That's true. It's true. I mean, you know, I guess you guys know this already by seeing the episodes. I'm pretty competitive, so when I play a game, I just do everything to win within the limits of the game. You know, I never break any rules. There's no rule against bidding. What is it, 10, 15,000 euros? But yeah, some people, I guess, don't really get that.
You weren't willing, though, to trip an 80-year-old man to beat him in a 100-meter dash, though. We didn't see that.
Well, that's an example of what I wouldn't do. I would think about it, but I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, you can take 10,000 euros out of the pot, but you're not a monster. You're not going to trip an 80-year-old Greek national hero.
What was the upper limit you were going to go for with the first exemption? Was there a figure you had in mind?
No, I mean, the one thing that you really need to realize, and people, it was actually told in the episode, but it lost its importance, I think, is they really put you in front of that screen 1 minute after they tell you that you can come on a trip with them, that you're one of the contestants. You know how slim the chances are that you will ever participate. It was my second interview in the process, so I thought I was one of the 500 contestants, whatever, or applicants. And so I was completely taken off guard, and the only thing that went through my head at that point in time is, I just don't want to go home. And you know, obviously, what a lottery that first elimination is, because you have no clue who the mole is. You take that test after, what is it, 1 or 2 days, so nobody has a clue. It's just one. Yeah, it's a lottery, and you get the opportunity to get that exemption, and to move on to the second stage, the second episode. Well, to be honest, I mean, yeah, I would do anything for that. And I don't care about the money. Nobody cares about the money. But the thing is, what I'm puzzled about is, everybody says the same. Of course, we're not there for the money. The money's unimportant. But yet they feel this. I don't know. I mean, they're afraid. I don't know what it is, but that they're reluctant to spend 10,000 on an exemption. Well, I'm not. That's for sure. I was shocked by Christian and Jill. I mean, zero euro. I mean, come on. I mean, those are that's the Wolf of Wall Street, Christian and Gilles. No, I'm just kidding, obviously, but it's still, it's for me, it wasn't shocking. I would do it again. And to come back to your question, I didn't have really a maximum. I was just going with the flow, and then all of a sudden I hit that limit. So yeah, that was a surprise.
It must have been quite the contrast to go from, I just want to make it onto the show, even though my odds are really low of making it in there, and then a couple minutes later have to switch the thinking to, now I just don't want to be the first one out.
Exactly. And you had this mole sitting behind a screen. You had this, yeah, the clock that was ticking. I mean, Gilles de Coster, obviously, yeah, you call him Papa Bear. He, for us, he's a famous guy. Well, now I know him, but at the time I didn't know this guy. He was entering the room. he calls you by first name. He said, "Hi Bart, how are you doing?" And I'm like, "What the fuck is this? This guy knows my name." And it's an emotional roller coaster, and that's not an excuse for me, bidding at 10,000 euros, because to be honest, even if you would give me like 5 hours, I would do the same. But still, it puts things into perspective.
To be fair, for us, it's like, oh my god, Zilda Costa knows our name. we had the exact same reaction.
Okay.
Now we just got to work on Willie Summers knowing our name.
We've talked enough about him in the past couple of months, Logan. He probably should know our names by now.
He's a great guy.
We'll be his Canadian liaison if he ever wants to expand overseas. I hear there's a big market for Flemish musicians in Canada.
Really?
I think the 10,200 bid kind of set up your story perfectly in the season of, as we were saying before we actually started recording, sort of being Kathy light. A lot of the same criticism that Kathy had in Argentina, you kind of had during this season.
Yeah, it's. I read that a lot. I haven't met Kathy, so I don't know her personally. But obviously, I watched the season, and I know that she was really going for it as well. I don't think we played it the same way, but obviously, she didn't care about the money either, and she went all the way. So from that perspective, I think, yeah, there are some similarities between the two of us. Obviously, yeah.
Yeah, it was more how the rest of the contestants treated you, because at least for the first sort of half of the season, Kathy really was a pariah. No one trusted Kathy whatsoever in the first half of the season.
But that's strange that you say that, because it seems so negative, but to be honest, nobody really cared within our group.
Yeah.
So the one episode, or the one podcast that I listened from you guys, when you reached out to me, was the one where, was it you, Michael, or Logan? I can't remember. Said Bart has no allies. He has no, but the truth of the matter is that obviously they were shocked at the beginning of the first episode, but at least they never showed that to me. And when we're not doing any challenges, we were one big happy family, and that's really the truth. So it's, otherwise I wouldn't have liked it, to be honest, because obviously for me it's a game. I don't care. It's just a game, and anything goes. But I must admit, if the atmosphere would have turned bad, or if I would really be a pariah within the group, I wouldn't have liked it.
Yeah, it was just kind of how it came across at a couple of moments in the season, because I'm mainly thinking after the 10,200 bid and after the skydive game as well, where Jolene was really kind of angry at you.
It's true. It's true. She was angry. She was angry, but that took her like an hour, and then we discussed it, and she said, like, yeah, to be honest, I was really disappointed that I didn't have these pasvragen, and it was well played of you, but I was just so disappointed. And to be fair to Yolene, they pushed her buttons. Obviously, they didn't. It wasn't shown in the episode, but they kept on asking her, "Well, give us a reaction, Yolene. How do you feel about this?" So, and then she snapped. But for her, it was a game changer as well, because as from that moment, she really started to play the game as you should play the game, in my perspective.
Yeah, you're not on holiday, you're on the mole.
I see a quote coming my way. Yeah, no, but it's true. I mean, don't you guys agree? I mean, for
Yeah,
me, that's
100%.
the way how you have to play the game. But I mean, that's my way. Everybody has his own way to play the game. But I liked it.
Yeah, I think I said this a couple of times during the season, that I can't criticize at all, because I am one of the most competitive people that I know, and I really, really, really hate losing.
Yeah.
I mean, a couple of weeks ago, I had a private message from someone who does a pub quiz that I do every week online, saying, "Can you please stop being so aggressive in the chat?" So I kind of can't begrudge you for being competitive on it.
And that intensity and that focus on the game is what saved you from elimination at least twice that we know of.
Well, yeah, I mean, the first one I really I didn't know until it was aired. Actually, I didn't know I had so many wrong answers, and that I really needed to use that two pasvragen. Obviously, they don't tell you while you're in the game. On the beach, there obviously I knew. That was that was horrific. That was really a terrible night. I must admit. I didn't feel like continuing. There was one point in time where I was sitting and yeah, I was sitting on that chair on the beach, and the other contestants, they were looking at each other and they were like pointing fingers at each other, etc. And nobody was looking at me. That was a good thing, obviously. But it gave me some time as well to think about all these things, etc. And there was this one moment, a split second, where I said, just go home. You don't deserve to be here. Just stand up and tell everybody that you had the red screen, and and just go home. And then for some reason I didn't do it. But yeah, I relive that moment every day.
Do you and Salim still talk?
We do.
Despite the fact that he beat you in a running race.
I guess that's what equals it out.
Exactly. Oh, he was so fast, amazing.
Oh, the old age makeup made me laugh in that, because I mean, I know you guys couldn't tell from a distance, but as soon as you see him walk down the amphitheater on screen, you go, "That's Salim." There's not even a question in my mind.
I didn't know, to be honest. I didn't know, but I knew something was fishy because, you walk to the starting point and there was like, I don't know what, 10 meters between ourselves, and they told us don't talk to each other. We'll shake hands and introduce each other like after the race. I'm like, okay, fine. But I looked at him, and his posture. No way he's like a 74 or 5-year-old guy. I mean, but then I was like, but somehow I didn't make the connection with Salim. I didn't make the connection, but I thought it was strange. And then we started running, and this guy was so fast, and I said, like, what the fuck is going on here? This cannot be true. And then obviously at the end of the race, when I don't know who was it, was it Yolene that first said, well, that's Salim, and then it got to me. It's like, yeah, of course. That was amazing. That was, yeah, these twists and turns that was an awesome moment. Really a good moment.
How long was it that after the race was over that you were thinking, man, I just got beat by an 80-year-old man at a foot race?
During the last 10 meters, maybe you've seen that on television. I didn't sprint anymore the last 10 meters. I just gave up because he was already way in front of me, and there was no chance I would. And that last 10 meters, I thought about that. I must admit, I'm like, fuck, this 75-year-old guy beat me. So I was so glad to see Salim.
If I win, I'm spending my money on a gym.
If for no other reason than to burn off the calories from the eating challenge.
Exactly.
Do you know whether they would have used the race if you had been sent home in the firework elimination?
I don't know. They apparently, and they didn't tell me, but I read that in the press as well. Apparently, they had this options open for depending on which contestant didn't make it, or was going to be the competitor in the race. So they had the running ways or some other stuff to do. I don't know. I don't know what they had in mind when I was going to be replacing Salim, but. If I had to race against Salim in the other, I mean, it's a definite no-go. The guy is so fast.
Yeah, you just got a bit unlucky that it was him who had to be the Team Greece representative.
Yeah, if it would have been a Christian, I mean, bring it on.
I'm genuinely intrigued to find out what would have happened if it was Christian, because I don't know which event they would have put him in.
I don't know either, and they don't tell us. But it's difficult to
work out which one.
Yeah.
At least with the 10,200 bid, they kind of got their own back with the kayak game, and then just putting a watermelon on your head as well.
The watermelon, that was a funny moment as well.
I think that was the point in the season where we were like, yeah, we're just going to love Bart for the rest of the season now.
Just because of the watermelon? I mean, was that strange for you guys to see me there with a watermelon, or what was, because I didn't listen to that podcast in particular, so what was your reaction on that one?
It was strange, but it was just so funny.
Yeah.
It was just like the fake out that the Archer gave you was just so funny.
Yeah.
It's more probably the way they edited it.
Yeah, I guess. And the thing is, because people asked me like, weren't you afraid? Actually, I was afraid, but then they said, well, you must have known there was a fake arrow, because which yeah, who is gonna stand there with a watermelon knowing that, if something goes wrong, you can be dead. The, the the only reason for me to stand there with this watermelon was that I trusted the production. I said, okay, fine. I don't know what's gonna come my way. I don't know how they did it, but why they will do it. But it cannot be a real arrow. There's gonna be this Deus ex machina, and they will find a way to trick me. But I mean, that was actually the reason why I went up there, because otherwise I would never have done it. But even knowing that, it was still scary. I was still, and you see that obviously because yeah, the reaction was real. It was not. It was a scary moment. Not as scary as on the bridge there on the finale, but still.
Something I've just realised, in the bridge challenge, they show you shooting to the William Tell overture, and of course William Tell is famous for shooting an apple off his son's head.
Really? I didn't realize that.
So I've just realised a production connection there, like literally as you were talking. This show,
Yeah, it's amazing.
it's constantly tricking me.
They're so good at it. I mean, they're so creative.
I mean, that bridge was terrifying. Logan agreed actually on our podcast for the finale that he's going to do that bungee jump. But one of our friends from the Amazing Race, Scott Flannery, had a particularly iconic moment jumping off that bridge because he is terrified of heights, and he did not want to jump off that bridge whatsoever, and he made quite a drama.
It was terrifying, and the funny part is that 20 years ago, this was really fun for me. I would love to do that, like 5 times a day if I needed to. And now 20 years later, I'm really scared. I'm really scared. When I was standing there on that bridge, same thing with the parachuting. I mean, to be honest, I was glad that I didn't have to jump. But you do it anyway, once you're standing there. I mean, you're in the mall. What are you gonna do? Fuck this challenge. I'm not gonna do it. So pack your bag, guys. Let's do something else. No, you do it. But I was really scared, I must admit.
I don't blame you at all. I was terrified just watching it. I'm terrible with heights anyway, or with falling more than heights, and I don't think I would have done that.
At least they didn't incorporate the heart rate with the Minotaur for that challenge.
Luckily they didn't. But to make it even worse, I mean, and that also shows how good they are, obviously. But you're standing there, shitting your pants on that bridge, and then they show you that video from your family. It's the contrast is it's unbelievable. It's so emotional. I didn't realize that it was going to be so emotional, that trip, to be honest, because I guess you've seen that as well. Whenever I saw my wife or heard my wife or my kids or whatever, I was so emotional. And normally I don't really have that because I have to travel a lot for my work. But when I call home, I mean, I never cry. I mean, come on. But there, it's such a strange world. Once you're in the mall, you're for 3 weeks. You don't have any access to internet. They take away your cell phone. You only have each other, and you're so in this different world. And then when they let you speak to your wife or to your family, that's this other world from Belgium that all of a sudden gets dragged into present at that time, and it makes everybody emotional. I guess they do it for great TV, but it's it's really emotional.
It's like the barrier's just coming down for a moment, and you're probably not even aware those barriers have been in place for the past 3 weeks.
Exactly, that's what it is, and it's a very strange feeling.
Come to think of it, I think your season has the most contact from home actually as well, because you had the phone call at the end, the video from home, and the family visit.
Yeah, but in South Africa they had that as well, if I'm not mistaken. They got to call home after that golf challenge. They had this video in that pub in and then obviously the visit. So, but it's more than in Vietnam last year, that's for sure.
Well, yeah. So who did actually try and steal your beer?
An overactive waiter.
Because that was another point where we were kind of like, yeah, Bart's our favourite, 100%. Just from you doing the confessional, and then it's just like, get off my beer. What are you doing?
Come on, guys. How annoying is it when you're standing in a pub or in a bar and you still have like half a beer and they take it away? I mean, come on.
Yeah, you're gonna finish it. You have to finish it.
Exactly.
The trauma from that is why from that point forward you have to order every drink from the menu just in case there's people taking the drinks away. At least if you order everything at a restaurant, you're going to be covered. Not everything's going to be removed from the table.
That was a good one. That was a good one, and that actually got some popularity on Twitter. Obviously, with the lockdown now, it's a running gag here in Belgium now. Once the lockdown's over, everybody's gonna go to a restaurant and just order everything. So it's yeah, but we didn't have a choice, you know. I mean, obviously, if you have to find out where the which dish or which drink has a problem with it, you have to order it. But it was fun. That was really a fun challenge. I had so much fun with that.
It certainly looked like the most fun challenge.
I was so glad in the morning when Doreen said, "Okay, guys, we have this gastronomic thing going on, and we had to pick two contestants. Going to be me and Bart." I'm like, "Okay, I'm your man." So that was really a fun thing to do.
Especially when you see that the other side is just working out for an hour and a half.
Exactly. I know where I want to be.
Didn't you say Doreen was chucking her guts up at one point as well?
He was hilarious. It was and this didn't get aired on television. They didn't show it, but at one point in time, I mean, obviously we're still thinking, and that was really, I mean, obviously, I was in the mole, Doreen was in the mole, so we really thought it wasn't a joke. We really thought at one point in time that we had to eat as much as possible, and we really couldn't eat one bit. It was just too much. And then I was telling to Doreen, maybe you have to put as much in your mouth as possible, and just run to the bathroom and puke everything. And I didn't think she was gonna do it, but she did. It was hilarious. I had to laugh for 10 minutes. It was unbelievable. She's such a funny person. Doreen is the best. So no, that was a fun thing.
Do you think every restaurant now is going to be too afraid to let you guys in if they have a buffet from now on? They're like, we know how far they'll go to take advantage of an all-you-can-eat.
That's a good one. In the US, they would, I guess, but in Belgium, these all-you-can-eat formulas or buffets isn't really popular. So that's a good thing that we're living in Belgium.
Has the Jane already been warned that you guys are coming?
Yep, we're coming on the 7th of August, if they're open.
Just in case you want to order everything. They just need to make sure they have extra stuff in.
Yeah.
So, what was it that made you suspect Alina in the first place?
I mean, obviously, she was never on the top of my list until the beach episode. Christian was always my number one. She was my number two. Um, but the fun thing is that I really took a chance or a risk in yeah, filling out really a huge number of questions on Christian. I wasn't really spreading my answers that much. But what made me think about Alina as the one being the mole, obviously, is she took some strange decisions, or she said some weird stuff when we're at this paparazzi challenge. When I was in that cafe sitting next to Willie Summers, not knowing that Salim's girlfriend was a waitress there at the time. And obviously she knew that, but I didn't know that. And at one point, I mean, when we were sitting there, it took us 10 seconds, and then she was really running outside saying, "Okay, this is a bad idea. Come with me." So that was really not Alina like, because up until then she was really acting low profile everywhere, and there she was almost panicking. That I found strange. And then the second thing, obviously, and that was the same day as the beach challenge, with the where I got the red screen there with the car on the airport. The fact that she ended in the €0 zone, obviously, was a strange thing as well. And obviously Yolene had the same problem, but she immediately told us that she, yeah, didn't she had a problem with putting the car in neutral, But I knew that that was just the truth because I saw her driving once, and I knew that she wasn't lying. So, so yeah, that made me, when you're sitting on the beach there and you have to make a decision, you have 30 seconds to make a decision, and you just, okay, who are the other contestants? You have to make up your mind, and for me, then she was the number 2.
Yeah. It's interesting this season because I have a terrible record on Belgian Mole. I always get it wrong until the last second, if at all. And we were really onto Alina very fast.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was this season, but we were onto Alina very quickly.
But let me ask you a question. Is it because you've watched the other episodes and you know how they edit it, or not?
Oh no, I'm terrible with guessing even when I've seen the episodes before. Even when I've seen loads of seasons of the Mole, I'm still terrible at guessing who the Mole is. To the point where even at the Vietnam finale last year, I was completely wrong until it was revealed.
So what made you guys think that she was the mole?
I don't know, because Logan was onto her from week 1. I think I was onto her from week 2.
Yeah. I don't know what's with me and Belgian Mole, but I can always figure it out right near the beginning, and I don't really do that with too many of the other versions. For some reason, with Belgian Mole, I can get into Papa Bear's head as to how he plans to do things.
So then it's just a hunch, I guess.
I guess, yeah. I guess it's more, for me, for when I figure out who the mole is, it's more thinking, if I was the mole, where would I want to be positioned in this challenge? As opposed to, I think the main difference, I guess, between being a contestant in the moment and watching from TV, I guess for you guys, it would be more based off of the personal interactions with the person. Meanwhile,
That's
as a
true.
viewer, all we're thinking is, well, if I was the mole, where would I be in this challenge? As opposed to going from based off of the emotional intelligence part of it.
That's true. But then even then, in episode 1, Alina was just on a rock like all of us, and in the second challenge on the ocean, on the sea, she was next to, what is it, 7 other contestants on the aqua speed. Is that the best place you think you want to be? Because there, for me, but obviously we can debate about this, and there's no no right or wrong. But I thought on the second challenge on the Greek Sea, I thought that you want to be in the parachute to be in control of things, and that's, to be honest, that was going to be one of my first reasons why I suspected Christian.
I thought that, but I think we said this in the premiere recap. Because of the money coming out of the pot straight away, the Mole could afford to play like a contestant in the first episode.
Yeah.
Because I was onto Christian originally for exactly that reason. But then, if you think about it, the Mole could play differently because of the fact that there was never going to be a chance of getting a positive amount in the pot by the end of the episode.
Yeah, that's a fair comment.
So I think it boiled down to that, but it was really weird that Logan and I were both A, onto the Mole, and B, onto the same Mole, because it never happens. It's partly why doing this podcast is so fun, is because Logan is usually right and I'm usually not. So I get to be constantly surprised.
This year it's like, yeah, we both think it's Alina. Yeah, it's Alina. We both win. What's the fun in that?
Usually the awkwardness of us interviewing the final 3 and then Logan going, oh, by the way, Michael suspected you, even though you had the money. As did happen last year.
Yeah, when we interviewed Boss.
Okay.
At least we didn't suspect Axel. So given that we missed out on you doing Never Have I Ever, I did pull a few of them.
Oh, come on.
Have you ever shot a gun?
Yes, I did. Actually, I organized that for my wife's birthday last year.
Was it in Lithuania, like
No.
Christian?
No, it was in Belgium in this shooting alley where we shot an Uzi and something else and some other
wow.
stuff. It was really fun. I liked it.
Is that a stereotype we're not aware of, that they shoot lots of guns in Lithuania? Because that was something we were really confused about. Because Christian said, oh yeah, I was in Lithuania, so I shot a gun. And I know my Lithuania knowledge is limited, but I'm like, I have never heard about that stereotype about Lithuania.
No, I don't think nobody else did in Belgium, so it was really new for us as well.
Have you ever been in a fight?
No, I haven't. I'm very competitive, as you know, but if I'm not playing a game, I'm really a nice guy.
Do you want to get into a fight or find out who the mole is?
Even then, I would. Well, no. So
There was always going to be one of those happening. Oh, and the other one I've got is peed in a pool, but that's probably a little bit inappropriate.
every time,
Yeah.
like Alina, it's a classic.
Have you ever spent a night in a police cell?
Nope.
Not even for fighting?
Nope. I'm boring.
You're boring outside of the board games. Was there a challenge from this season or any other season that you'd wished you'd done?
The drunken heists in South Africa is such a fun challenge. That seems like a challenge that I really want to. Yeah, I would pay big money for that, to be part of that.
Well, I think Gilles actually told us that they didn't exactly tell the museum people what they were doing. They told them they were filming. They just didn't tell them exactly what they were doing as part of the
Really,
challenge.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Now they're all being extradited for stealing precious South African artifacts.
Or the fact that they wouldn't exactly be sober during that challenge. I'm very much looking forward to us being able to talk about the Drunk Museum heist at length, because it's one of my favourite challenges. It's certainly one of Logan's as well.
Yeah, I think I think it's everyone's favorite challenge. Well, when you speak to people who know the mall and who have seen all episodes, it's the one challenge that always comes back.
Can you give us an idea of just how big the mole is in Belgium? Because I think that's something that people don't really fathom, especially in the smaller communities outside of Belgium who follow the show.
Well, it's the most popular TV program in Belgium. The highest viewing rates, particularly this year, obviously with the lockdown. Everybody was at home watching TV. But this year, I mean, every year it breaks records. Every year it's number one. But this year even more, obviously. So it's very big. Obviously in the Flemish part, not in French speaking part.
Not in Wallonia?
Not in Wallonia.
Like, say, like last year before you were cast on the show, like how often do you think you would just be walking around and people would be talking about the mole as like a point of discussion, or like when the finale comes on for at the end of Vietnam, like would everybody be saying, hey, plans are canceled for tonight, I'm watching the finale?
Yeah. Actually, I mean, I guess not everybody, but yeah, many people, and of all ages, to be honest. You have kids, you have youngsters, you have all ages. It's amazing. It's really amazing how much it's appreciated, and how many people watch it. It's unbelievable. I underestimate it.
So in a few years, there'll be a bunch of kids growing up who will visit Greece and try to shoplift from the stores now that they see that if you put your mind to it, you can do anything and just be able to shoplift.
Let's hope not, but I'm not excluding it.
Do you think you would have been good at the shoplifting challenge?
To be honest, I think so. I really think so. And it's one of the challenges this year that I that I missed. This is a challenge. Well, like with the feta cheese, I was glad I was not there. But this one, the shoplifting, oh, I would have loved to do that.
It's another one of those challenges where you just go, how did they even come up with this one?
Yeah, I know.
I think that was pretty much the reaction that we gave to Joe when we talked to him, was like, how did you even come up with the ostrich maze or the drunk museum heist? Where does that come from?
Yeah, that's amazing. The people who make them all, it's have you met them last year? Do you know who they are?
We met some of them, yeah.
The creative brains behind it. It's those guys are just insane. But yeah, great guys.
Have you bought any more perfume bottles since the finale to just try to spray through the entire bottle?
Well, Logan, that was female perfume, so obviously I don't buy that. So that was actually one of the reasons why I was pushing the button and why I was spraying all the perfume on Yolene. But afterwards in the car, it didn't help. Whether I sprayed it on her or on me, it was all the same. It was awful in the car. Yeah, that was Yolene's idea. 2 bottles of perfume. Jesus.
Neither bottle complimented the other.
No.
On that challenge, why was Alina chosen to be in the money room?
I mean, both of us obviously knew that Alina was the mole, and what you don't want at that point in time is to give the other contestant the opportunity to spend time with the mole and do a challenge, where you have limited information. So and where you are depending on the one contestant and then the mole to give you some information to be able to fill out the test. So it was clear for the both of us that this was not going to happen. I mean, if Yulene would have decided to go up there and count the money, fine by me, even better. But I wouldn't go up there. And Yulene actually was thinking the same. So it was pretty clear that we were gonna stay together at that point in time. And obviously, I mean, we knew that the risk was that the money was counted wrongly, obviously, and that the money was gonna go out of the pot. But yeah, who cares, At least I don't.
Do you want the money, or do you want to find out who the mole is?
Exactly. Well, at that point in time, we didn't have to find out anymore. We both knew. But still, we had now. The reasoning we had was like, "Ugh, let's have some fun, drink some champagne, eat some food, sit on a boat, have some fun, and if that will cost the pot like €1,000, well, fuck it."
So both of you were locked in on Alina at Final 3. There was no real strategy to try and trick the other person at the last minute.
Well, I tried to trick her on the day before when Christian was still there on the big run, the 17K run to Sparta. There I tried to trick her with some convincing arguments, if I if I do say so myself. And she actually she was gonna go for it. She admitted it afterwards to me as well that she was gonna go for Christian that same night. But she got the exemption, so obviously she didn't have to fill out the test. And then she saw Christian leaving, so she knew that was going to be that would have been the wrong choice.
So that exemption made the difference between you winning and losing the game after all.
No, well, to be honest, if Christian would have gone to the finale, then yes, because apparently I didn't know it at the time, but now I know that he was on to me. So yes, that would have been a very strange finale there, where he would have been on the wrong mole. It's hilarious if you have to come to think about it. It's crazy. But the question is obviously if for instance there would have been no exemption on that last elimination, or two, uh, which also resulted in no exemption actually, because with two exemptions nobody would have an exemption. Then the question is, even if Yulene would have answered questions on Christian, whether she would have gone all the way, or whether she would still have spread her answers between Christian and Alina. And if she would have spread her answers, then she would still have won, because Christian apparently he went in 100% on me. He filled in all questions on me, so he would have lost anyway. Unless he would have got the exemption, that's obviously a game changer. Or when he would, for example, have two pasvragen, because that was one of the options as well. That if there were two exemptions, then the other two would get two pasvragen. But anyway, I mean, a lot of ifs and that's, and but Yolene is the only she deserved to win, definitely.
Was it weird knowing that you actually scored as highly as previous winners have and still didn't win?
All credit goes to Yulene. She had a faultless test, so it's amazing. But I knew, to be honest, when we filled out the test, I knew that she was gonna win. She was so meticulously on keeping all these questions, these the information on Alina. She was on to Alina. I mean, not 100%, but still, as her main suspect. What is it, as from episode 3. So it's and the thing is, I some crucial challenges I wasn't together with Alina, and I missed 3 questions, two from the school, where I was kicked out on the first room. For example, one of the question was, what is the color of the balloon in the second room that you had to like pop with this cactus, Well, I knew they gave me some information on that room, but not in detail, So I didn't know what the color of the balloon was, and I missed one question on the calorie challenge as well when they were all together in that gym, I believe, what was the question? Or what's the second thing that Alina used, in that gym, etc. But I was glad to be in that restaurant at that point in time.
Yeah,
So
I was going to say, I think it was worth it just to not have to be in the gym and to be able to eat.
exactly, if I had to turn it back and have to make a decision on where do you want to be, I still choose a restaurant.
Were there questions on the final quiz that were more advantageous to you as opposed to Yulene?
No, not at all.
Do you guys ever discuss this strategy as to when you stop splitting or stop spreading on quizzes and go all for one person? Was there any quiz strategy talk during the game?
Yeah, we had some discussions on that, but the fun part is that everybody was lying. Everybody was actually telling each other that they were still spreading. Oh yeah, of course it's too risky to go for one person, and many people were already going for one person. It was that was the fun part watching it. I mean, once the episodes are on TV, obviously you see stuff that you're not aware of, and that was so funny that you got to learn that so many people were actually putting all their questions on one candidate. Whereas at the time being, when we talked about this in Greece, they all said, no, I'm spreading. It's too risky. So that's really funny.
Were you surprised to see how many people were suspecting you? After you spent all that money on that first exemption, because for Michael and I, we ruled you out because of that first exemption. Were you surprised that people other than I think Bruno, that you were the most suspected candidate throughout the season?
I was, to be honest, because and I'm gonna see some of the guys next week, and I really this is one of the questions that I'm still gonna ask, because apart from the 10,200 euros, what did I do to be so suspicious? I didn't get it. Do you guys know?
I mean, the only other thing I can think of is the skydiving challenge, but that was basically halfway through the season.
Yeah, but don't forget, whether the group went for money or not was not a decision we took. It was Doreen and Salim. They took the initial decision to go for the pasvragen, and so the money was already lost.
Yeah, I'm not criticizing it at all. It's the only thing I can think of where you were vaguely suspicious for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I don't get it. I really don't get it. And even the 10,200, like you guys said, but the thing is, and that's really frustrating when you're not only when you're watching them all on TV, but also when you're playing them all as a contestant. Whatever happens, whatever someone says, you can always have an explanation both ways. And that's what makes it so tricky, but also so fun and to play, and it's really a mindfuck all the way from start to finish, because you can always twist and turn it around, and so you never know for sure.
Yeah, because the thing that people seem to be forgetting is the fact that if you hadn't gone for 10,200 euros, the next one was Bruno at 7,500. So actually, you only cost the pot less than 3,000 euros.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just that people are sort of laser focused on the fact that you cost the pot so much money.
Yeah.
Did anyone else try to, or did they make up the totals that they said that they buzzed in for the exemption at? Did everyone else say, "Oh yeah, we all did 0, 0. I swear we did 0"?
No, we all were very honest about this, because we all asked each other, okay, so what was your bid? What was your bid? And actually everybody told the truth. Yeah.
Did the amount that the Mol bid come up on the tests out of interest? Yeah, I thought it might have. So that's one good reason not to lie. Because you will get caught out for that.
That's true.
Anything else, Logan?
I don't really have too many. No, don't really have any other notes.
Wonderful. So, thank you for listening to this special Mol Belgie episode. We'll be back on July 9th to begin the hunt for the Argentinian mole. Don't forget you can contact us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram, where we are RTV Warriors, or you can email us at contact@rtvwarriors.com. Logan's on Twitter at LogSuperQuacky, and I'm MJ Halmstone. See you then.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Peace out and just chill until the next flavorings.